2 years later, Alex Morrison stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Academy of Harmonic Sciences, watching ships from dozens of different species arrive for the first Galactic Consciousness Conference. At 8 years old, he had grown taller and more confident, but his eyes still held the same gentle wisdom that had first amazed Dr. Lisa Grant. The Academy floated in space at the exact center of what was once the boundary between human and hegemony territories. Now it served as a symbol of cooperation between species that had learned to value consciousness as much as technology. "Alex," Dr. Grant called from behind him, "your students are ready for today's lesson." Alex turned from the window with a smile. His students were a group of young aliens from 6 different species, all of whom had shown early signs of quantum consciousness abilities. Teaching them had become his favorite part of life at the Academy. He walked into the classroom where 12 young beings sat around a collection of musical instruments from their various homeworlds. There was Crix, a young Vothan whose gray skin had developed bioluminescent patterns that pulsed with quantum harmonics. Next to him sat Lyria, a Keldoni whose crystalline features sang with pure tones when she was happy. "Good morning, everyone," Alex said, taking his place at the central piano. "Today we're going to practice something new. Instead of just making our own technology work better, we're going to learn how to help each other's technology." Zara, a young Thrax with iridescent scales, raised her hand. "But Alex, our species' computers use completely different quantum frequencies. How can we help each other?" Alex's fingers found the piano keys and began playing a complex piece that somehow incorporated musical elements from all their different cultures. Because underneath all the differences, consciousness speaks the same language. Watch. As he played, the various pieces of alien technology in the room began responding to his music, even though they had been designed by completely different species with different scientific principles. A Vothan datapad started synchronizing with a Keldoni communication crystal. A Thrax holographic projector began displaying images in harmony with a human quantum computer. "You see," Alex said, still playing. "Technology wants to work together. It's only afraid to try because it doesn't know how to communicate. Music teaches it the common language." The young aliens began playing their own instruments, following Alex's lead. Slowly, tentatively at first, their combined music created quantum harmonics that connected all the different technologies in the room into a single, cooperative network. Dr. Elena Rodriguez watched from the observation area above the classroom, taking notes on her tablet. Beside her stood Ambassador Zex-9, who had become one of the Academy's strongest supporters. "Remarkable," Zex-9 said. "In 2 years, these children have achieved technological integration that our best scientists couldn't accomplish in centuries." "Because they're not trying to force integration," Elena replied. "They're creating harmony. There's a difference." A communication chime indicated an incoming message from Earth. General Kate Sullivan's face appeared on the holographic display. "Alex, Dr. Grant, I have news from the Outer Rim surveys. We've discovered 3 more species showing signs of redeveloping consciousness abilities. They're requesting Academy assistance." Alex looked up from his lesson with interest. "Are they friendly species or scared species?" General Sullivan smiled. "They're cautious species. Like most beings when they first realize they can do things they thought were impossible. We'll help them," Alex said with confidence. "It's what the Academy is for." After the lesson ended, Alex walked through the Academy corridors with Dr. Grant. The building hummed with activity as researchers, teachers, and students from dozens of species worked together on projects that would have been unimaginable just a few years earlier. They passed the Quantum Harmony Laboratory, where Dr. Rodriguez was working with a team of multi-species scientists to develop new forms of consciousness-guided technology. They walked by the Cultural Exchange Center, where young beings learned about each other's music and art traditions. "Alex," Dr. Grant said as they reached his private quarters, "do you ever think about what your life would have been like if none of this had happened? If you had found a family on New Terra Station?" Alex considered the question seriously. "I think about it sometimes, but I don't think it would have been better. Those families couldn't hear what I could hear. They would have tried to make me stop listening to the music of the universe. And now? Now I have the biggest family in the galaxy," Alex said with a grin. "Every species that learns harmonic consciousness becomes part of the same song. That evening, Alex stood again at the observation deck, this time joined by many of his students and colleagues. They were preparing for the most ambitious project the Academy had ever attempted. Captain Ryan Davis's voice came through the communication system from his position near the edge of the galaxy. "Alex, we're in position. The deep space quantum resonance array is ready." For months, Academy scientists had been placing quantum resonance beacons throughout the galaxy, creating a network that could carry consciousness harmonics across unprecedented distances. Tonight, they would attempt to activate the entire network simultaneously. "Remember," Alex said to the assembled musicians, "we're not trying to control anything. We're just offering to help the galaxy remember how to sing together." Alex began playing the piano, his music flowing out through the quantum network to every inhabited system in the galaxy. One by one, his students and colleagues joined in with their own instruments, creating a symphony that spanned multiple species and star systems. On worlds throughout the galaxy, beings who had never heard harmonic consciousness music before suddenly found themselves remembering abilities their ancestors had possessed. Technology that had operated in isolation for millennia began connecting with other systems, sharing resources and information in ways that benefited everyone. The hegemony's rigid hierarchies began dissolving as consciousness abilities spread, replaced by cooperative networks based on harmony rather than control. Human colonies found their already advanced systems integrating seamlessly with alien technologies they encountered. Most importantly, children of all species began discovering that they could hear the quantum music of the universe. No longer would any child be rejected or feared for being different. Instead, they would be celebrated as bridges to a better future. Ambassador SHOCKS joined Alex at the piano as the Galactic Symphony reached its crescendo. "Alex Morrison," he said formally, "by order of the United Galactic Council, you are hereby appointed as the first Director of Galactic Harmonic Relations." Alex's hands never stopped moving across the keys. "Does that mean I get to help more kids who feel different?" "It means you get to help everyone understand that being different is what makes the universe beautiful," SHOCKS replied. As the music continued into the night, Alex thought about his journey from rejected foster child to galactic teacher. He remembered sitting alone in waiting rooms, listening to families explain why they couldn't accept him. He remembered the fear in Ambassador SHOCKS' eyes when they first met. Now he looked around at beings from dozens of species, all making music together, all part of the same cosmic symphony. Dr. Grant stood nearby, beaming with pride at how far her former foster child had come. Captain Davis transmitted congratulations from the edge of space. Dr. Rodriguez took readings that showed quantum harmony effects reaching the farthest corners of the galaxy. Alex Morrison, the unwanted child who shocked everyone with his piano, skills had become exactly what the universe needed. Someone who could teach others that their differences were not flaws to be hidden, but gifts to be shared. The galaxy would never sound the same again, and that was exactly as it should be. The peace negotiations took place on neutral ground at Harmony Station, a specially constructed facility in the space between human and hegemony territories. Alex Morrison sat at a magnificent concert piano in the station's central chamber, surrounded by the most important leaders from 12 different species. 3 weeks had passed since the battle at the solar system. In that time, more human children had been discovered with harmonic abilities, and their combined efforts had created changes that amazed even Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her research team. "Alex," Dr. Lisa Grant said softly, "are you ready to play for our guests?" Alex looked around the chamber at the assembled aliens. Ambassador SHOCKS sat with his delegation of VOTHA officials, their gray skin and multiple eyes focused intently on the small human boy. Representatives from the Keldoni, Thrax, and 9 other species filled the remaining seats. "They still look scared," Alex observed. "But not angry anymore, more like curious scared." General Kate Sullivan stood beside the piano. "Ambassador SHOCKS, you requested a demonstration of our children's abilities. Alex has agreed to show you what he can do, but only if you promise to listen with open minds." SHOCKS inclined his head formally. "We are here to understand, not to judge." Alex placed his hands on the piano keys and began to play. The music started simply, a gentle melody that seemed to make the air itself more peaceful. But as he played, the harmonies became more complex, reaching out to touch the quantum fields that connected all matter in the universe. The effect on the alien delegates was immediate and profound. For the first time in millennia, they began to hear something they had forgotten existed, the underlying music of consciousness itself. Dr. Rodriguez monitored the readings from her instruments. Alex's playing is creating quantum resonance in their neural structures. He's helping them access dormant areas of their brains. As the music continued, something extraordinary happened to Ambassador ZX9. His multiple eyes began to show expressions of wonder and recognition. Memories surfaced from deep in his species' evolutionary past, when the Votha had possessed abilities similar to what human children now displayed. "Impossible," ZX9 whispered. "We abandoned this path 10,000 years ago." "Why?" Alex asked, still playing but looking at the ambassador with genuine curiosity. "Because we thought technology was more reliable than this." ZX9 gestured at the quantum effects surrounding Alex's music. "We chose machines over mind, control over harmony." Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward with data displays showing brain scans of the alien delegates. "Ambassador, Alex's music is reactivating neural pathways in your species that have been dormant for millennia. You didn't lose these abilities, you just stopped using them." The Keldoni representative, a being with crystalline features, spoke in a voice like ringing bells. "Our ancient texts speak of the first music that connected all consciousness. We believed it was mythology." "Not mythology," Alex said, his hands still moving across the keys. "Just forgotten. But forgetting doesn't mean gone forever." As Alex played, something began happening throughout Harmony Station. The alien technology started responding to his music the same way human technology did. Lights grew brighter and steadier. Computer systems processed information more efficiently. Life support systems hummed in perfect harmony. But more importantly, the alien delegates themselves began to change. ZX9 found that he could sense the quantum fields around him for the first time in his life. The Keldoni representative began to hear harmonics in the station's background noise. Representatives from other species experienced similar awakenings. "This is what we fear," admitted Counselor Vec of the Thrax Empire. "Not your weapons or your technology. We fear remembering what we chose to forget." General Sullivan understood. "You're afraid that if your people remember these abilities, they'll question the path your civilizations have taken." "Exactly," ZX9 said. "Our entire social structure is built on technological hierarchy. If consciousness itself can interface with quantum fields, what need is there for our machines? What need is there for our current leaders?" Alex stopped playing and looked at the assembled aliens with compassion that seemed far beyond his 6 years. "You don't have to choose between technology and music. They can work together. That's what makes it beautiful." Dr. Grant pulled up holographic displays showing the changes in human space over the past month. "Since our children began using their abilities, human technology hasn't become obsolete. It's become more efficient, more responsive, more aligned with what we actually need. Our ships are faster and safer," Captain Ryan Davis added through the communication link from his vessel. "Our colonies use less energy while providing better living conditions. Our computers solve problems we never thought possible. The children aren't replacing technology. They're teaching it to evolve." Elena Rodriguez shared her latest research findings. What Alex and the other children have discovered is that consciousness and technology aren't separate things. They're different expressions of the same underlying patterns. When they work together, both become more than they could be alone. The hegemony delegates spent hours asking questions and observing demonstrations. Each time Alex played, they remembered a little more of what their species had once been capable of. Other human children joined the demonstration through quantum communication links, their combined abilities creating effects that reached across the galaxy. "We have a proposal," ZX9 finally said. "The Hegemony Council is prepared to establish a new framework for galactic civilization, one that recognizes consciousness manipulation as a legitimate and valuable capability. What kind of framework? General Sullivan asked. Educational exchange programs, research partnerships, gradual reintroduction of harmonic consciousness development for species ready to undertake the journey. ZEX-9 paused. And we would like to ask if human children would be willing to serve as teachers. Alex looked at Dr. Grant, who nodded, encouragingly. I'd like to teach, he said. But I want to make sure no other children ever get rejected by families just because they're different. That will be the first priority of our new accords, ZEX-9 promised. No child, human or alien, will be punished for possessing these gifts. As the negotiations continued, Alex returned to his piano and played a piece that seemed to celebrate the possibilities opening before them. The music reached out across space to every human settlement and every hegemony world, carrying a message of hope and change. For the first time in galactic history, consciousness and technology were learning to dance together instead of fighting for dominance. And it had all begun with a rejected foster child who simply wanted to make the universe sound a little bit better. Dr. Grant watched Alex play and realized that he had become more than humanity's first quantum consciousness manipulator. He had become a bridge between what the galaxy had been and what it could become. The age of harmony was finally beginning. General Kate Sullivan stood in the command center of New Geneva Military Base, watching displays that showed the largest space battle in human history about to begin. 3 days had passed since the hegemony ultimatum, and their massive fleet was now approaching the outer edge of human space. General, Lieutenant Commander Jake Foster reported, we have 53 gifted children confirmed safe at various protected locations. The evacuation effort was mostly successful. Mostly? General Sullivan asked. We couldn't reach all of them in time. Some families chose to hide rather than trust military protection. We estimate another 20 to 30 children are still in vulnerable locations. Alex Morrison sat at a piano in the military base's communication center, his small hands moving across the keys in patterns that seemed to reach across the galaxy. Dr. Lisa Grant stood beside him, monitoring the quantum field readings that showed his connection to the other gifted children. Alex, Lisa said gently, can you feel where the other children are? The ones we haven't found yet? Alex nodded without stopping his playing. They're scared and hiding, but they can hear me and I can hear them. We're all connected now. Captain Ryan Davis had volunteered his ship for the coming battle along with dozens of other civilian vessels. The human fleet was much smaller than the hegemony armada, but something had changed in the way human technology operated. General Sullivan, the tactical officer, reported, all our ships are showing impossible performance readings. Engines running at 150% capacity, shields at maximum strength, weapon systems operating beyond design specifications. Sullivan looked at Alex, who was playing a complex piece that seemed to pulse with the rhythm of distant starship engines. It's the children, isn't it? They're enhancing our entire fleet. Not just enhancing, Dr. Elena Rodriguez said through the communication link from her research station. They're teaching our technology to work in harmony. Our ships are operating as a single coordinated system instead of individual vessels. The first engagement occurred at the Titan Nebula, where 12 human ships encountered a hegemony patrol, fleet of 40 vessels. By all military logic, it should have been a massacre. Instead, something unprecedented happened. The human ships moved with perfect coordination, as if controlled by a single mind. Their weapons fired in synchronized patterns that created interference cascades in the hegemony ship's quantum shields. Their formations flowed like music, shifting and adapting in ways that confused the alien tactical computers. General, the communication officer reported in amazement, the Titan engagement group has defeated the hegemony patrol with 0 casualties. Repeat, 0 human casualties. Alex's playing became more confident, his melody expanding to include harmonic layers that resonated with starship battle frequencies light years away. How is this possible? General Sullivan asked Dr. Rodriguez. The children aren't just manipulating quantum fields individually anymore, Elena explained. They're creating a collective consciousness that extends to all human technology in space. Our ships, our weapons, our defensive systems. Everything is connected through quantum harmony. Ambassador Zex-9's image appeared on the communication screens, his multiple eyes showing a mixture of fury and fear. Human commanders, your vessels are employing technology that violates galactic warfare conventions. Surrender immediately or face total annihilation. General Sullivan stepped forward. Ambassador Zex-9, our children are not weapons. They're using natural abilities to protect their families and communities. Natural abilities that threaten the technological balance of the galaxy, Zex-9 replied. The hegemony will not permit the spread of uncontrolled quantum manipulation. Then you'll have to stop us, General Sullivan said calmly. The main battle began 3 hours later, when the full hegemony fleet encountered the human defense forces at the edge of the solar system. The aliens had numbers, advanced weapons, and centuries of military experience, but they had never faced an enemy whose technology was guided by the consciousness of gifted children. Alex and the other young humans played their instruments across dozens of worlds and space stations, their music creating a symphony of quantum harmonics that touched every human vessel in the fleet. Ships that should have been destroyed absorbed incredible damage and kept fighting. Weapons that should have failed instead fired with perfect accuracy. Defensive shields that should have collapsed grew stronger under pressure. Captain Davis, flying his merchant ship alongside military dreadnoughts, watched his instruments in amazement. My cargo hauler is outmaneuvering hegemony interceptors. This shouldn't be physically possible. The children are rewriting the rules of physics, Elena reported. They're not just using technology, they're teaching it to evolve. The tide of battle turned when 10-year-old Sarah Kim, hiding with her family on Mars, began playing a piece that created resonance harmonics in the hegemony fleet's own quantum systems. The alien ships found their weapons turning against each other, their shields fluctuating wildly, their navigation systems providing conflicting information. The enemy fleet is breaking formation, the tactical officer reported. They're retreating, to minimum safe distance, but Alex was not finished. His playing reached a crescendo that created quantum effects throughout the solar system. Every piece of human technology, from the smallest communication device to the largest space station, began operating in perfect harmony. The message was clear to everyone watching. Humanity had evolved beyond the hegemony's ability to control or defeat them. Ambassador Zex-9's transmission came through one final time, his voice filled with a defeat that echoed across multiple alien species. Human children have demonstrated capabilities that exceed our understanding. The Hegemony Council requests negotiations. General Sullivan looked at Alex, who had stopped playing and was rubbing his tired eyes like the 6-year-old he was. Alex, she said gently, the bad aliens want to talk instead of fight. What do you think we should do? Alex considered the question with the seriousness that had always made him seem older than his years. I think they're not really bad. They're just afraid because they forgot how to hear the music that connects everything. Maybe we can teach them to remember. Dr. Grant knelt beside Alex's piano bench. Do you think they can learn? Alex nodded. Everyone can learn to make better music. It just takes practice and someone patient enough to teach them. As reports came in of total victory across all battlefronts, General Sullivan realized that humanity had not just won a war. They had demonstrated something that would change the galaxy forever. The age of technological dominance was ending. The age of conscious harmony with the universe itself was about to begin. And it had all started with a 6-year-old foster child whom no one wanted, playing piano in an empty community center. News of what happened at Haven Ridge Colony spread across human space faster than anyone expected. Within hours, Dr. Elena Rodriguez at Research Station Omega was receiving reports from dozens of colonies about children with similar abilities. Alex sat in the colony's recreation center, still tired from his effort to save Haven Ridge. Dr. Lisa Grant watched him color in a picture book, while Captain Ryan Davis coordinated with Earth Command about the growing crisis. Dr. Grant, Ben Clark, the colony administrator, approached with a concerned expression. We're receiving evacuation requests from human families across 3 sectors. Parents are trying to get their gifted children to safety before the hegemony finds them. Lisa looked up from watching Alex. How many children are we talking about? At least 40 that we know of, maybe more. Dr. Rodriguez says the number keeps growing as parents realize what their kids can do. On the other side of the room, Ryan finished his communication with Earth Command and walked over with grave news. The Hegemony Council has called an emergency session. Ambassador X9 is demanding immediate action against what they're calling the human quantum threat. Alex looked up from his coloring. Are they still mad at me? They're not mad at you personally, Alex, Lisa said carefully. They're afraid of what you represent. What do I represent? Lisa struggled to find words a 6-year-old could understand. You represent change. And sometimes when things change, it scares people who are used to things being the same way. Ben's communication device chimed with an urgent message. We have a problem. Long-range sensors are detecting a massive hegemony fleet assembling at the edge of human space. They're mobilizing everything. Ryan pulled up star charts on his handheld display. That's not just a patrol fleet. Those are battle cruisers and dreadnoughts. They're preparing for war. Dr. Elena Rodriguez's voice came through the communication system from Research Station Omega. Lisa, I need to share what I've discovered about the children's abilities. It's more significant than we thought. Elena's holographic image appeared in the center of the room. Her usually calm demeanor showed signs of excitement and worry. I've been analyzing quantum field recordings from every incident involving the children. Alex, what you did at Haven Ridge wasn't just system optimization. You created a quantum resonance cascade that affected technology across multiple light years. What does that mean? Alex asked. Elena smiled at him. It means your music can travel farther than we imagined. When you played to help the colony, other children in distant systems felt it. Some of them started playing music too, and their abilities got stronger. Lisa felt a chill of understanding. Elena, are you saying the children are connected somehow? More than connected. They're creating a network. Each time one of them uses their abilities, it makes all the others more powerful. It's like they're part of the same quantum consciousness. Ben looked worried. No wonder the hegemony is mobilizing their entire fleet. If human children can network their abilities across space, we're talking about power that could affect the entire galaxy. Alex put down his coloring and walked to the keyboard. Without being asked, he began playing a soft, searching melody. It was different from his usual music, more tentative, like he was trying to reach out and touch something far away. I can feel them, he said quietly. His eyes closed as he played. The other kids, they're scared, but they're trying to help their families like I helped the colony. Elena's instruments at Research Station Omega began recording massive quantum fluctuations. Lisa, the resonance cascade is happening again. Alex is connecting with the other children right now. As Alex played, reports began coming in from across human space. At New Geneva Colony, 8-year-old Katie Brooks was sitting at her family's piano, playing the same melody Alex was playing despite being 12 light years away. At Frontier Station 7, twin brothers were humming in harmony, causing their settlement's shields to strengthen dramatically. On Earth itself, 10-year-old Marcus Kim was in his music class when he suddenly stopped playing his violin and began a complex piece that made every computer in the school building run faster. They're all doing it, Elena reported, her voice filled with awe. Every gifted child in human space is playing music simultaneously. The quantum effects are cascading across the entire region. But the most dramatic effect was happening in space itself. Human ships throughout the galaxy began reporting that their systems were running at impossible efficiency levels. Trade vessels moved faster, military ships had stronger shields, and communication between star systems became clearer than ever before. Captain Davis checked his ship's readings with amazement. The Celestial Dawn's engines are running at 140% capacity. That should be impossible without catastrophic overload. Ambassador X9's voice suddenly interrupted all communications across the sector. The hegemony leader's transmission reached every human settlement simultaneously. Humans of the outer colonies. His voice was cold with barely controlled fear. Your species has developed capabilities that threaten the stability of galactic civilization. The Hegemony Council demands the immediate surrender of all children exhibiting quantum manipulation abilities. Alex stopped playing for a moment, his small face troubled. "He's really scared," he said. "I can hear it in his voice." "The hegemony offers one final opportunity for peaceful resolution," SHOCKS continued. "Surrender the anomalous children for study and containment, or face the consequences of harboring weapons of mass destruction." Ryan snorted. "Weapons of mass destruction? They're children playing music." "To the hegemony, that's exactly what makes them dangerous," Lisa said. "Their entire civilization is based on controlling advanced technology. If humans can manipulate that technology naturally, it threatens everything they've built." Elena's voice came through with urgent news. "Lisa, I'm detecting massive quantum signatures from the hegemony fleet. They're powering up weapons designed to disrupt quantum fields. They're planning to attack human settlements with technology that will neutralize the children's abilities." Alex's playing became more determined, his melody stronger and more complex. Around him, the colony's systems hummed in perfect harmony. "I won't let them hurt the other kids," he said with surprising firmness for a 6-year-old. "We can protect each other if we work together." Ben looked at the readings from his colony systems and made a decision that would change history. "Dr. Grant, Captain Davis, I'm declaring Haven Ridge Colony an independent settlement under Earth. Protection. We're not surrendering Alex or any other gifted child to the hegemony." "Ben, that's essentially a declaration of war," Ryan warned. "Then that's what it is," Ben replied. "Some things are worth fighting for." As Alex continued to play, his music reaching across space to connect with dozens of other gifted children, the first shots of a galactic war were about to be fired. But this would not be a war fought with conventional weapons. This would be a war between two different ideas of what intelligence could become. The hegemony represented technological augmentation and control. Humanity represented natural evolution and harmony. And at the center of it all was a 6-year-old boy who just wanted to make the universe sound a little bit better. Alex clutched his small bag of belongings as they hurried through the station corridors toward Captain Davis's ship. Dr. Lisa Grant had managed to pack only the essentials before the hegemony ships arrived at the edge of the system. "Dr. Grant," Aria's voice followed them through the speakers. "Hegemony vessels are requesting immediate docking permission. Ambassador SHOCKS is demanding access to the community center." "Stall them, Aria," Lisa said. "Technical difficulties, paperwork delays, whatever you can think of. I will attempt to delay, but my programming requires cooperation with hegemony authorities." They reached the docking bay where Ryan's ship waited. The Celestial Dawn was not a large vessel, but it was fast and well equipped for long journeys between star systems. As they boarded, Alex turned back toward the station. "Will Aria be okay?" The ambassador seemed angry. "Aria will be fine," Lisa assured him. "AIs are good at protecting themselves." Ryan was already starting the ship's engines when an alert came through the communication system. "All vessels are ordered to remain docked pending hegemony inspection." "Too late for that," Ryan muttered, engaging the ship's departure sequence. They lifted off just as 3 massive hegemony warships entered the system. Alex pressed his face to the observation window and watched the station grow smaller below them. "Where are we going?" he asked. "To a place where we can think and plan," Ryan said, "and where we can contact people who might be able to help." As they traveled through hyperspace, Lisa received an encrypted message from Dr. Elena Rodriguez. The news was not good. "Lisa, the hegemony has issued system-wide alerts about Alex. They're calling him a quantum anomaly requiring immediate containment. They've also started rounding up other children with similar abilities." Alex overheard and looked frightened. "Are they going to hurt the other kids like me?" Lisa did not know how to answer that question honestly without terrifying him more. Ryan brought the ship out of hyperspace near a small, isolated space station. "This is Haven Ridge Colony," he explained. "It's one of the farthest human settlements. If we're going to make a stand, this is where we do it." As they approached the station, Ryan noticed something wrong. The colony's lights were dim, and there was no response to his communication attempts. "Haven Ridge Control, this is Captain Davis requesting permission to dock," he called. A weak voice finally answered. Captain Davis? Thank God. We've been under hegemony blockade for 3 days. Our shields are failing, and life support is running. On emergency power. Lisa and Alex looked at each other with understanding. The hegemony was already punishing human colonies, using Haven Ridge as an example of what would happen if humans did not surrender their gifted children. Can you get us to the colony? Lisa asked Ryan. The blockade ships will try to stop us, but the Celestial Dawn is fast enough to slip through. They made their approach carefully, dodging between asteroids to avoid detection. When they finally docked at Haven Ridge, the difference from New Terra Station was shocking. The lights flickered constantly, the air recyclers struggled to maintain atmosphere, and everything felt like it was barely holding together. Colony Administrator Ben Clark met them at the airlock. He was a tired-looking man with worry lines around his eyes. Captain Davis, Dr. Grant, he said, I wish you were here under better circumstances. The hegemony has cut off all our supply lines. They say we're harboring dangerous technology. We might be able to help, Lisa said, but we need to understand exactly what's happening to your systems. Ben led them through the colony corridors. Everything started failing after the blockade began. They're using some kind of interference field that disrupts our quantum systems. Our shields can't maintain full power, and life support is degrading daily. Alex walked beside them, listening to the sounds of the struggling colony. His face scrunched up in concentration. Everything sounds sick, he said quietly. They reached the colony's command center, where Ben showed them displays full of red warning lights and system failure alerts. Ben, Ryan said, what if I told you we might have a way to fix your problems? But it would require trusting a 6-year-old child. Ben looked at Alex with confusion. I don't understand. Lisa explained quickly about Alex's abilities and what they had discovered at New Terra Station. Ben listened with growing amazement and hope. You're saying this boy can repair our quantum systems just by playing music? More than repair them, Lisa said. He can optimize them beyond normal parameters. Alex tugged on Lisa's sleeve. Can I try to help them? The colony sounds really hurt. Lisa looked at Ryan, who nodded. They had come this far. It was time to see what Alex could really do. Ben, do you have any kind of musical instrument? Ryan asked. There's an old keyboard in the recreation center, battery-powered. They made their way to the recreation center, where a small electronic keyboard sat on a table. Alex climbed onto a chair and placed his hands on the keys. Alex, Lisa said gently, the colony is surrounded by bad ships that are making all the machines sick. Do you think you can help make them better? Alex nodded seriously. I'll try to sing the right song for them. He began to play, starting with a simple melody that seemed to match the rhythm of the colony's struggling life support systems. As he played, his music became more complex, weaving together harmonies that somehow reached out beyond the colony itself. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The lights stopped flickering and grew brighter. The air recyclers hummed more smoothly. Throughout the command center, warning lights began turning from red to green. But something else was happening too. Alex's music was reaching beyond Haven, Ridge Colony, traveling through quantum fields to the hegemony blockade ships surrounding them. On the bridge of the lead hegemony vessel, alarms began sounding as their interference field suddenly destabilized. The quantum weapon they were using to disrupt the colony systems began working in reverse, actually strengthening human technology instead of weakening it. Alex played for 20 minutes, his small hands moving across the keyboard with impossible skill. When he finally stopped, Haven Ridge Colony was running better than it had in years. Ben stared at the system displays in amazement. Full shield power, life support at 110% efficiency. Even our computers are running faster. But the most important change was outside. Through the observation windows, they could see the hegemony blockade ships retreating. Their interference weapons had become useless, and several of their own systems had been affected by Alex's harmonic manipulation. The blockade is lifting, Ryan said, watching his sensors. They're withdrawing to minimum safe distance. Alex slumped in his chair, tired from the effort. Did I help? He asked sleepily. You did more than help, Ben said, his voice filled with awe. You saved us all. As word of the Haven Ridge miracle spread through human space, Lisa realized that everything had changed. Alex was no longer just a gifted child who needed protection. He was proof that humanity had capabilities the hegemony could not understand or control, and that made the coming conflict inevitable. Dr. Lisa Grant worked through the night, gathering data about Alex and reaching out to researchers across human space. What she discovered changed everything she thought she knew about human evolution. Captain Ryan Davis had delayed his departure to help with the investigation. Together, they had spent hours running tests with Alex at the piano. Each test revealed something new and impossible. When Alex played fast, energetic music, the station's computers processed data faster. When he played slow, gentle melodies, the life support systems became more efficient. When he played complex harmonies, the shield generators created patterns that no engineer had ever seen before. Aria, show us the quantum field analysis again, Lisa said. The AI displayed holographic charts in the air above them. The child's brain activity creates neural oscillations that match quantum field frequencies. His auditory processing centers are connected to regions typically associated with spatial mathematics and energy manipulation. In simple terms? Ryan asked. Alex's brain is wired differently than normal humans. He can hear quantum fields the same way others hear music. When he plays piano, he's actually tuning the quantum energy around him. Alex sat at the piano, swinging his legs and eating a sandwich. To him, the grown-ups were talking about very confusing things. All he knew was that he liked making the station sound better, and everyone seemed excited about it now instead of worried. Lisa's communication device buzzed with an incoming message from Dr. Elena Rodriguez at Research Station, Omega. Lisa had sent Alex's test results to Elena, one of the top quantum physicists in human space. Lisa, this is incredible. Elena's voice crackled through the speaker. I've been researching similar cases for months. We have 17 children across 6 colonies showing variants of the same ability. Ryan and Lisa exchanged shocked looks. 17? Lisa asked. At least 17 that we know of. All between ages 5 and 12. All showing signs of quantum field sensitivity. Most of their families think they're just musically gifted or have overactive imaginations. Alex looked up from his sandwich. There are others like me? Elena's voice became gentle when she realized the child was listening. Yes, Alex. There are other children who can hear the special sounds that machines make. You're not alone. But why now? Ryan asked. Why are human children suddenly developing these abilities? I have a theory, Elena said. Human expansion into space has exposed our children to quantum field environments that don't exist on Earth. Their developing brains are adapting. It's evolution in real time. Lisa pulled up star charts on her tablet. Elena, where are these children located? All in sectors with high alien technology exposure. Space stations, mixed colonies, trade hubs. Places where human children grow up surrounded by advanced quantum systems. Ryan understood immediately. They're adapting to the technology around them, learning to interface with it naturally. Exactly. And Lisa, there's something else. I've been monitoring hegemony communications. They're not just asking about human children randomly. They've detected quantum anomalies in human space. They know something is happening. The conversation was interrupted by an alert from Aria. Incoming. Priority transmission from Hegemony Ambassador Zex-9. Lisa felt her stomach drop. The Hegemony had never contacted this station directly before. Put it through, Aria. The holographic display changed to show a tall, imposing figure with gray skin and multiple eyes. Ambassador Zex-9 of the Vothan Empire was known throughout the galaxy as one of the hegemony's most powerful representatives. Dr. Grant. The ambassador's voice was cold and formal. I am Ambassador Zex-9. The Hegemony Council has received reports of unusual quantum fluctuations originating from your station. Ambassador, Lisa replied carefully. Our station is operating within all normal parameters. Our sensors indicate otherwise. We have detected quantum harmonic manipulation of a type previously unknown. The Council requires immediate access to your station for investigation. Alex had stopped eating his sandwich. Even though he was only 6, he could tell this alien was dangerous. The boy's fingers found the piano keys and began playing very softly. The music was protective, like a lullaby meant to keep bad dreams away. Ambassador ZX9 paused mid-sentence, his multiple eyes focused on something off-camera. "Dr. Grant, what is the source of that harmonic resonance?" Lisa's heart raced. ZX9 could hear Alex's playing even through the communication system. "I'm not sure what you mean, Ambassador." "Do not lie to me, human. We are detecting quantum field manipulation at your exact location. You will surrender the source immediately, or the hegemony will consider this a hostile act." Ryan stepped forward. "Ambassador, this is a civilian station with no military capabilities. We pose no threat to anyone." ZX9's attention shifted to Ryan. "Captain Davis of the merchant vessel Celestial Dawn. Your ship's registry indicates frequent travel through human space. Have you observed similar quantum anomalies at other locations?" Ryan kept his expression neutral. "I'm just a trader, Ambassador. I don't have equipment to detect quantum anomalies." Alex's music became slightly louder. The station's shields automatically strengthened in response. Ambassador ZX9 noticed immediately. "Fascinating," the ambassador said, his voice filled with a mixture of curiosity and fear. "The quantum manipulation is occurring in real time. Dr. Grant, you have 1 standard hour to prepare your station for hegemony inspection. Any attempt to hide or remove the source of these anomalies will be considered an act of war." The transmission ended, leaving them in tense silence. "Lisa," Elena's voice came through the communicator. "I heard everything. You need to get Alex out of there right now." "Where can we go?" Lisa asked. "The hegemony controls this entire sector." Ryan was already checking star charts on his ship's computer. "I know a place, but we'll have to move fast, and we'll need to contact Earth Command immediately." Alex stopped playing and looked at the adults with worry in his dark eyes. "Are the bad aliens coming to take me away?" Lisa knelt down and took his hands. "Alex, we're going to keep you safe. But we might need to take a trip on Captain Davis's ship. Would that be okay?" Alex nodded, but his lower lip trembled. "Will I have to leave the piano?" "We'll find you another piano," Ryan promised. "But right now we need to go." As they prepared to leave, Lisa realized that Alex Morrison was no longer just a rejected foster child. He was the first evidence of humanity's next evolutionary step. And that made him the most important person in the galaxy. It also made him the most dangerous, at least from the hegemony's perspective. Because if humans were developing the ability to control quantum technology naturally, it would change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. 3 days later, Alex had made the community center his home. Dr. Lisa Grant had set up a small sleeping area behind a partition, but Alex spent most of his time at the piano. He played for hours, and each time he did, the station seemed to run a little smoother. The station's AI system was called Area. It controlled everything from life support to communications. Area had been watching Alex with growing interest. The AI had sensors throughout the station, and it could measure every change that happened when the boy played music. On the morning of the 4th day, Captain Ryan Davis docked his merchant ship Celestial Dawn at New Terra Colony Station. Ryan was a human trader who traveled between different worlds selling supplies and equipment. He had been coming to this station for 5 years. Ryan walked through the corridors toward the supply depot. Something felt different about the station, but he could not figure out what. The lights seemed steadier. The air felt cleaner. Even the artificial gravity felt more stable. As he passed the community center, he heard piano music. Beautiful, complex music that seemed to make the walls themselves vibrate in harmony. Ryan stopped and listened. He had grown up on Earth and knew classical music when he heard it. This was Chopin, played perfectly. But who could play like that? On a frontier colony station? Ryan looked through the doorway and saw a small boy at the piano. The child's hands moved across the keys with incredible skill. His eyes were closed and he seemed lost in the music. Then Ryan noticed something impossible. The shield indicator lights in the corridor were glowing brighter than he had ever seen them. Station shields were usually kept at minimum power to save energy, but these lights showed maximum shield strength. Ryan pulled out his handheld scanner and checked the readings. The station's defensive shields were operating at 300% normal capacity. That should have been impossible, without massive power drain from other systems. But according to his scanner, all systems were running better than normal. The music stopped and the shield lights dimmed back to their usual level. Ryan stared at the boy, then at his scanner, then back at the boy. "What in the galaxy just happened?" he whispered. "Excuse me," said a voice behind him. Ryan turned to see Dr. Lisa Grant approaching. "I'm Dr. Grant, the station's human liaison. You're Captain Davis, right? I was hoping to talk with you." "Dr. Grant, I need to ask you something," Ryan said, still staring at his scanner. "Was that kid just playing piano?" "Yes. Why?" Ryan showed her his scanner readings. "Because while he was playing, your station shields jumped to 3 times normal strength. And according to these readings, every system on this station is running at peak efficiency." Lisa felt her heart race. She had suspected Alex was special, but this was beyond anything she had imagined. "Captain, I think we need to talk. Both of us. And we need to include Alex." They walked into the community center together. Alex looked up from the piano bench with curious eyes. "Hello," he said politely. "Alex, this is Captain Davis," Lisa said. "He noticed something interesting about your piano playing." Ryan knelt down to Alex's eye level. "Son, do you know what happened to the station while you were playing?" Alex nodded. "The station sounds happier when I play. All the machines work together better. Like a big orchestra where everyone knows their part." "Can you do it again?" Ryan asked. Alex looked at Dr. Grant, who nodded encouragement. The boy turned back to the piano and began to play. This time it was a different piece, something flowing and powerful. Ryan watched his scanner as the readings climbed. Shield strength increased again. Power distribution became more efficient. Even the station's computers seemed to be processing data faster. "Aria," Lisa called out to the station AI. "Can you confirm what we're seeing?" The AI's voice came from speakers around the room. "Confirmed, Dr. Grant. The child's musical output creates harmonic frequencies that resonate with quantum field fluctuations in our shield generators and power systems. The effect is to optimize all station operations." Ryan nearly dropped his scanner. "Aria, are you saying this kid can control quantum fields through music?" "Not control, Captain Davis. Harmonize. The child appears to instinctively understand quantum resonance patterns and can modify them through acoustic manipulation." Alex stopped playing and looked at the adults. "I don't understand all those big words," he said. "I just hear when things sound wrong and I try to make them sound right." Lisa sat down beside Alex. "Alex, what you can do is very special. More special than we realized. You're not just playing music, you're helping machines work better by making the right sounds." "Is that bad?" Alex asked. "The family's always said it was bad." "No, Alex," Ryan said firmly. "It's not bad. It's amazing. But I think we need to be very careful about who finds out about this." "Why?" Lisa asked. Ryan's expression became serious. "Because if the wrong people learn that a human child can manipulate quantum fields, they're going to want to study him. Or worse, they're going to see him as a threat." As if summoned by his words, Lisa's communication device chimed. She looked at the message and felt her blood turn cold. "Captain, we may have a problem. I just received a priority message from the Hegemony Council. They're requesting detailed reports on all human children in this sector." "The Hegemony Council?" Ryan's face went pale. "Why would the 12 Species Alliance care about human kids?" Alex looked back and forth between the adults. He could see the worry on their faces even though he did not understand why they were scared. "Did I do something wrong?" he asked quietly. "No, Alex," Lisa said, putting her arm around him. "You didn't do anything wrong. But I think some people might not understand how special you are." Ryan was already making plans. "Dr. Grant, I think we need to contact Earth Command. If the Hegemony is asking questions about human children and we have a kid who can manipulate quantum technology, This could be bigger than just one station. What do you mean? Lisa asked. I mean, maybe Alex isn't the only one. Maybe there are other human children with abilities like his, and maybe that's why the hegemony is suddenly interested. Alex went back to playing the piano, but quieter now. The music was sad and worried, like the feelings in the room. Around them, the station hummed in harmony with his melody, as if it, too, was concerned about what might be coming. Lisa watched Alex play and made a decision. Whatever happened, she would protect this child. He had been rejected by 15 families, but she would not let him be rejected by the galaxy. She would find a way to keep him safe, even if it meant standing against the most powerful alliance in known space. Alex Morrison sat on the cold metal chair in the waiting room. His small legs did not touch the floor. The room was white and clean like all the other rooms on New Terra Colony Station. He had been here before, many times. The tall alien with blue skin walked past him without looking down. The Zentari family was leaving. They did not want him either. That made 15 families now. 15 families who said he was too strange, too different, too hard to understand. Alex did not cry anymore. He had learned that crying made the grown-ups more uncomfortable. Instead, he listened to the sounds around him. The station hummed with power. The lights buzzed in a pattern. The air recyclers made a steady rhythm. To Alex, it all sounded like music that was not quite right. Like someone was playing a song but hitting the wrong notes. His fingers moved on his leg, tapping out a different rhythm. A better rhythm. One that would make the station's sounds work together instead of fighting each other. He did not know why he could hear these things. He just could. Dr. Lisa Grant watched Alex from across the room. She was the only human who worked at the foster care center. Most of the workers were aliens from different planets. They were kind, but they did not understand human children very well, especially not Alex. Lisa looked at her tablet. The report from the Zentari family was the same as all the others. Child displays unusual behavior around technology, makes strange noises, seems to interfere with household equipment, not suitable for our family structure. She sighed and walked over to Alex. The boy looked up at her with dark eyes that seemed too old for his 6-year-old face. Hello, Alex, she said, sitting down beside him. They didn't want me either, Alex said quietly. It was not a question. He already knew. I'm sorry, Lisa said. She meant it. Alex was a good kid. He was smart and quiet and never caused trouble. But there was something about him that made alien families nervous, something they could not explain. Can I ask you something, Alex? Lisa said. When you're in the alien homes, what do you hear? Alex tilted his head. Most grown-ups did not ask him about the sounds. They just told him to stop making noise or to sit still. Everything sounds wrong, he said. Like when someone plays music but they don't know the right notes. It hurts my ears, so I try to fix it. How do you try to fix it? Alex held up his hands. His fingers were long and thin for a child. I tap or hum, or sometimes I sing very quietly. It makes the sounds better. But then the families say their machines start acting strange. Lisa felt a chill run down her spine. She had read reports about equipment malfunctions in homes where Alex had stayed. Lights that flickered in patterns. Computer systems that ran smoother than normal. Security systems that became more sensitive. Everyone assumed it was just coincidence. Alex, I want to try something, Lisa said. There's an old piano in the community center. Would you like to see it? Alex's eyes lit up, for the first time all day. A piano? A real one? Yes, a real one. It belonged to a human family that lived here before they moved to another colony. They walked through the station corridors together. Alex's head turned as they passed different sections. His fingers tapped against his leg in complex patterns that seemed to match the sounds of the station around them. The community center was a large room where different species could meet and socialize. Most of the time it was empty. In one corner sat an old earth piano. It was made of dark wood and looked out of place among all the metal and plastic of the space station. Alex ran to the piano and climbed onto the bench. His feet still did not touch the floor, but his hands reached the keys perfectly. He pressed one key, then another. The sound echoed in the empty room. "Do you know how to play?" Lisa asked. "No," Alex said, "but I can hear what it wants to sound like." His small fingers began to move across the keys. The music that came out was beautiful and sad. It was a piece Lisa recognized from old Earth recordings. Chopin, she thought. But Alex had never heard classical music before, she was sure of it. As Alex played, something strange began to happen. The lights in the community center stopped their usual flicker. The air recyclers hummed more quietly. Even the constant background noise of the station seemed to settle into a more peaceful rhythm. Lisa felt her tablet vibrate. She looked down and saw alerts from the station's AI system. Power efficiency in this section had just increased by 30%. All systems were running at optimal levels. She stared at the screen, then at Alex. The boy finished playing and looked up at her with a smile. It was the first real smile she had seen from him in months. "It sounds better now," he said. "Alex," Lisa said carefully, "has this happened before? When you play music or make sounds, do machines work differently?" Alex nodded. "Always, but the families don't like it. They say I break things. But I don't break them. I make them work better." Lisa's mind raced. She thought about all the reports, all the strange equipment behavior, all the families who said Alex was too unusual. What if he was not breaking anything? What if he was actually improving it? She looked at Alex sitting at the piano, his small hands still resting on the keys. For the first time, she wondered if the problem was not that Alex was strange. Maybe the problem was that no one understood what he could do. "Alex," she said, "would you like to stay here for a while? We can set up a room for you near the community center. You can play the piano whenever you want." Alex's face brightened. "Really? And I won't have to go to another family that doesn't want me?" "Not until we figure some things out," Lisa promised. She did not tell him what she was really thinking. She did not tell him that she suspected he might be the most important human child in the galaxy. She just smiled and let him play the piano again, while she made plans to contact some very smart people who might understand what Alex Morrison could really do.